average Rotten Tomatoes score of the first 3 Toy Story films is a 99%. Still, Pixar risked making a 4th film. Does it live up to that high standard of the first 3 films, or does it fall short? Let's talk about it. Ever since they announced Toy Story 4, I have been extremely skeptical of a 4th trip to the toy chest. The 3rd film ended so well that this just kind of felt unnecessary and likely to tarnish the franchise's reputation. Add to that, I really haven't liked the trailers all that much, and I was very skeptical going into this film. Well, did it win me over? I'll tell you in just a second, but before that, go ahead and tell me your excitement level down below in the comment section. Are you excited? Are you nervous? Where are you at? With that said, let's get started talking about the good. Right off the bat, they found a way to tell a story which felt like the logical continuation of where Part 3 left off, and it manages to continue the themes established within the franchise. In the first 15 or so minutes, you understand how Part 3 resolved the storyline of the original trilogy as a whole, but that doesn't mean it resolved each individual character's journey. Like all of these films, this is a very Woody-centric story, but this is also probably the best Woody has ever been. He still has all the same struggles and insecurities that he had in the previous films, but they're explored more through the lens of his strengths. He's doing all the things he's always done and struggling with the same things he's always struggled with, but it's set up in a way to make him come off heroic. Also, like the other films in this franchise, it's very emotional and captures that sense of nostalgia for childhood. It explores themes about identity and purpose, and how as we go through life, things change and our relationships change, and we have to change along with it. The big emotions start very early on in the film, and they don't really let up until the credits roll. This movie also does some interesting things with its villains. The previous 2 films in the franchise gave us solid villains with these dense backstories, and once again we have a villain with a dense backstory that's solid, but the characters used very differently inside of this story, and in a way that I think gives the character more of an arc that comes to a far more satisfying conclusion. And the dummies are also really creepy. And as this is a Toy Story movie, we've got a bunch of new friendly toys thrown into the mix, and all of them are really good and get some really funny moments, whether you're talking about Duke Caboom, voiced by Keanu Reeves, or Ducky and Bunny, voiced by Key and Peele, or Forky. Each of these characters are totally different from one another. They're used uniquely inside of the story and have their own distinct sense of humor. All of them get multiple big laughs. And speaking of laughs, this is probably the funniest movie in the franchise. I would imagine the 3 biggest laughs of the entire franchise are all in this film. It can be very funny at certain points in time. And finally, while this movie will absolutely make you laugh, it's probably also going to make you cry. Tim Allen stated that when he recorded the dialogue for his final scene in the movie, he broke down into tears. And I bet you probably will too. This movie comes to a very emotional, very satisfying conclusion that's gonna make a lot of people ugly cry. With that said, we gotta move on to the mixed aspects of the film. The big thing that comes to mind here is that it does touch on a lot of themes and ideas that were explored in the previous films. In this review, I said, like in the previous films, multiple times because it is touching on similar things as before. But it takes them in new directions, it does new things with them, so it's not actually a negative, but if you're sensitive to that, it might feel a little bit familiar. And then from there, we gotta move on to the negative. And the only thing here is that Forky throughout the movie is essentially used just as a plot device. As a character, he's going through this ontological crisis because of his creation story that seems a little bit weird to put inside of a children's movie. Now, certainly the first Toy Story did some similar stuff with Buzz Lightyear and his identity, but what Forky's doing in the first 20 or so minutes of this film and jumping out windows and stuff is a little bit deeper and darker for a G-rated film that I'm not quite sure that kids would understand fully what's going on. Real quick, before I give you my final score on this one, be sure to share your excitement level for this film, or if you've seen it, your take on it down below in the comment section. Also, after this video, check out this playlist up above where I ranked some of the top animated franchises out there. If you've enjoyed this review, there's something in there that you will love. In closing, this franchise has not skipped a single beat. I went in as nervous as anyone, but honestly, the franchise is as good and in some ways better than it has ever been before. You don't need to be nervous. This is another heartwarming, very funny Pixar classic. It's an A overall, it's a 9 out of 10 on entertainment, and everyone should go see this in the theater. If you've enjoyed this video, check out this playlist right over there for more content just like it. Thank you so much for watching, and keep talking movies too much.